Good afternoon, California. Welcome and thank you for tuning in to the California Citizens Redistricting Commission Communities of Interest Input Meeting with a focus on the Bay Area. I am Commissioner Russell Yee. I'm here in my hometown of Oakland, and I'll be co-chairing this meeting along with Commissioner Pedro Toledo. Let's start off with roll call. Ravi?
Yes, Chair. Commissioner Ahmad,
Here.
Commissioner Kutagawa,
Here.
Commissioner Anderson,
Here.
Commissioner Fernandez,
Presente.
Commissioner Foranshari,
Here.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Here.
Commissioner Lamons,
Here.
Commissioner Sadwani,
Here.
Commissioner Sanai,
Here.
Commissioner Taylor,
Present.
Commissioner Toledo, Commissioner Turner,
I am here.
Commissioner Vasquez, and Commissioner Yee.
Here.
Roll call is complete, Chair.
Thank you, Ravi. I'll start by sharing a little bit about the Commission. Every 10 years, after the federal government publishes updated census information, California must redraw boundaries of its congressional, state Senate, state Assembly, and state Board of Equalization districts so that the districts correctly reflect the state's population. In 2008, California voters authorized the creation of the Commission when they passed the Voters First Act. It authorized the Commission to draw the new district lines for the state Senate, state Assembly, and state Board of Equalization districts. Then in 2010, the Congressional Voters First Act added the responsibility of drawing the congressional districts to the Commission. The 14-member commission is made up of 5 Republicans, 5 Democrats, and 4 not affiliated with either of those 2 parties. The commission must draw the district lines in conformity with strict, nonpartisan rules designed to create districts of relatively equal population that will provide fair representation for all Californians. When we receive the census data, the Commission begins drawing census maps using 6 line drawing criteria as outlined in the California Constitution. One of these criteria is minimizing the division of cities, counties, neighborhoods, and communities of interest to the extent possible. We can obtain the city and county information from those jurisdictions, but we need the neighborhood and communities of interest information from Californians directly. That's why we have launched these communities of interest input sessions to get that valuable information from you directly. We encourage all Californians to participate in this process. If you would rather submit your community of interest input over the internet, you can do so from our website by visiting drawmycacommunity.org. That's drawmycacommunity.org. Drawmyca community is all one word. And there you can find our mapping tool and a place where you can describe your community of interest. Skip the line, go online. That tool is available in English as well as 12 other languages. Now I will call on all commissioners to introduce themselves and say hello. To see the biographies of all 14 commissioners, or for additional information, or to sign up for our emails, please visit our website at wedrawthelinesca.org. That's wedrawthelinesca, all one word, .org. I'll begin with my co-chair, Commissioner Toledo. See you not here yet. Okay, let's go to Commissioner Ahmed.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am very excited to continue to learn about your communities, and I look forward to a great meeting.
Commissioner Kutagawa.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Looking forward to hearing again from those of you who have not yet told us about your communities in the Greater Bay Area. And so we look forward to hearing what you have to tell us.
Commissioner Anderson.
Hello, California, and hello, Bay Area specifically. I'm looking forward to hearing about your communities and can't wait to write this all down. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Buenas tardes, California. Soy Alicia Fernandez del Condado de Yolo. Good afternoon, Californians. I'm Alicia Fernandez from Yolo County. Looking forward to hearing all of the input from my neighbors to the, west. I'm really not good with directions.
Commissioner Foranshari.
Good morning, California and the Bay Area. I'm Neil Fornashari, coming to you from San Joaquin County, your neighbor to the east. Looking forward to hearing all of your input about your communities of interest in the Bay Area. Thanks.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Good afternoon. I'm Ray Kennedy, coming to you from Morongo Valley, which is one of the Joshua Tree Gateway communities in rural southern San Bernardino County. Looking forward to hearing what makes your community special to you. So thank you very much.
Commissioner Lamont.
Buenas tardes. Good afternoon, California. I'm Antonio Lamont, coming to you today from Rancho Mirage. I split my time between Riverside and Los Angeles counties, and looking forward to hearing about the communities of interest in the Bay Area. Thank you.
Commissioner Sadwani.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much to all who are here today and planning to call in. My name is Sarah Sadwani. I am calling in today from Pasadena, California, and looking forward to hearing more about the Bay Area.
Commissioner Sinai.
Saludos a uno de 4 áreas donde he vivido en California. Es un honor servirte de San Diego. Soy Patricia Sinai. Welcome to one of the 4 areas I've called home in California. It's an honor to serve you from San Diego. I'm Patricia Sinai.
Commissioner Taylor.
Good afternoon, California. Hope everyone is doing well. Come to you from the San Gabriel Valley today, the foothills of Altadena, and looking forward to learning more about the Bay Area. I've always enjoyed my time when I am there.
Commissioner Turner.
Well, good afternoon, California. I'm Trina Turner, Bay Area, born and raised, but I'm hailing to you now from the San Joaquin Central Valley. But I left my heart truly in San Francisco. Looking forward to hearing from you all.
The Commissioner Vasquez is still not here. Commissioner Toledo. Okay, and I am Commissioner Russell Yee once again. And 100 years ago, my grandparents immigrated from southern China, landed in Oakland, and we've been here ever since. For the Commission, please follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Our handle is @WeDrawTheLineCA. That's @WeDrawTheLineCA, all one word. There you'll find a lot of useful information about redistricting and updates from the Commission. Today's meeting is primarily for communities of interest testimony focused on Alameda, Contra Costa, Marin, San Francisco, San Mateo, Santa Clara, and Solano counties and surrounding areas. However, anyone in California can call in to provide input for any part of California. General public comment will also be taken at the end of the meeting. Although the Commission has divided up California into 11 zones, that in no way relates to or reflects redistricting lines or boundaries. It's simply for outreach purposes. The Commission created the zones to assist commissioners and staff in their outreach efforts and is not an indication of planned district boundaries. Today, we're also joined by our line drawing team of Haystack DNA and Q2 Data and Research, LLC. They will be displaying a map of areas as callers describe them. As you call in, please start with the area you would like to discuss and be as specific as possible as to the boundaries of where your community of interest is located. Our goal is to find that area on the map and display it before your 3 minutes of testimony. If you're within a specific neighborhood of a large city, please mention that neighborhood by name. Once we're able to locate your area, your 3 minutes will begin. You will not be able to share your own screen. We're joined today by our common moderator, Katie, who will be introducing attendees when it's their turn to speak. When you join the meeting, please use the raised hand button at the bottom of your screen to enter the queue. If you have registered for a time slot, we encourage you to call in during your appointment time slot. When it's your turn to speak, Katie will be identifying you by your assigned unique ID number. You will be reconnected to the session with the ability to enable your own video and/or audio. The comment moderator will assign you a speaker order number before you begin speaking. Please make a note of that number for future reference. You'll be able to use this number to identify your community of interest testimony on our website at a future date. The Commission will be enforcing a 3-minute time limit. There will be a warning at 30 seconds and at 15 seconds remaining. At the beginning of your input, you will see a map on the screen. Please tell the mapper what area you would like to see on the screen and be as specific as possible as to the boundaries of where your community is located. Registration is not required to participate in this public input meeting. The public also has the option of calling in during this meeting to get into the queue to speak, even without an appointment. The call-in information and access code are listed on the live stream. While there are no cut and dry rules on how to define your community of interest, we've identified some ways that will help you. Begin with your city or county. Mention street names or highways or other significant locations in your neighborhood to help us identify the parameters of your community. Tell us about your shared interests and things that bring you together. Tell us what's important to your community. Tell us what other nearby areas you would like to be included with in an election district. Also tell us areas nearby that you don't want to be included with and why. Tell us why or why not. You might tell us about how your community has come together to advocate for important services like schools, roads, health centers, or other facilities. And we welcome you to describe your community of interest in any way that makes sense to you. We also invite you to use our community of interest tool to draw a map. That's at our drawmycacommunity.org, drawmycacommunity, all one word, .org. There you'll find a mapping tool, and you're welcome to use that in place of or in addition to your testimony today. We'll now begin the public input session. I will pass the moderation over to Katie, our comment moderator. We'll start first with people who are registered, and then we will open the phone lines if there is time before the next session. This session will go till 5:30. So, Katie.
Thank you, Chair. Welcome to the public input session. Please use the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen to enter the queue. When it is your turn to speak, you will be identified by your assigned unique ID number, which you were emailed yesterday. You will be reconnected to the session with the ability to enable your own video and/or audio. You will then be assigned a speaker order number. Before you begin speaking, please make a note of your speaker order number for future reference. The Commission will be enforcing a 3-minute time limit. There will be a warning at 30 seconds and 15 seconds remaining. It is the Commission's goal to find the area on the map you would like to discuss prior to your testimony. If you are within a specific neighborhood of a large city, please mention it by name. Once you are able to locate your area, your 3-minute testimony will begin. Attendees will not be able to share their screen. At the end of your public input, or at the end of your time, you will be reconnected in a listen and view only mode. At the beginning of your input, please remind the mapper what area you would like to see on the screen. Right now we have 003, and then up next will be 004.
Am I up? 003?
Yes, sir, 003. Your speaker order number will be number 1, if you will please make note of that for future reference.
Yes.
And if please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss, the floor is yours. .003, I will be promoting you now. There seemed to have been a glitch in the system. What is going on? 003, you can now unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm back.
Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay. All right. My name is Michael Dupre. I'm from Congressional District 9, living in Oakley, California, off of Big Break Road and Vintage Parkway. As people age and retire, they are driven east by a lower cost of living and become part of the San Joaquin Delta community. The Delta community needs one representative to maintain the best connection between government and the people. The current fair market value or current fair market rent area calculation used to calculate the average rents is disproportionate to the demographics of Far East Contra Costa County, and it should be reorganized to reflect a more equitable area median income, such as our current district represents. Due to a complex system of calculating Social Security COLAs do not match actual increases to individual incomes. Old age survivor and disability insurance or Social Security benefits are indexed for inflation to protect against loss of purchasing power by inflation. By statute, COLAs for those benefits are calculated using the Bureau of Labor Statistics Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. Many argue that it doesn't accurately reflect the inflation experienced by the elderly and should be changed to an elderly specific price index, such as the Consumer Price Index for Americans 62 years of age and older. Inadequate calculations and taxation of Social Security are eroding the economic stability of recipients and must be corrected. There is a lack of adequate federal funding and housing inventory in the county. The county's project-based voucher waiting list is closed indefinitely. State and federal programs, as well as current laws, do not meet the needs of those on fixed incomes. They only benefit developers and owners. Many of our seniors are paying up to 80% of their incomes on rent alone and are facing increases in rent up to 10%. With rising cost of living not accounted for, those on fixed low incomes are being priced out of existence. All renters on fixed incomes, especially senior citizens who are unable to increase their incomes to match the growing cost of living needs, they need local, state, and federal protections. It is imperative that our district remain as it is to make the necessary changes in legislation to stop abusive, immoral, and unethical rent increases for all those on fixed incomes. Can I answer any questions?
15 seconds. Yes. Yeah, Mr. Dupree, so you mentioned your town of Oakley. Are you thinking, and a district, which district are you thinking of? Is it congressional, state senate, state assembly?
Congressional District 9.
Congressional District 9, and that's the district which you have in mind with your comments?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much.
Right now, we will have 004.
Okay.
And up next will be 001. Right now will be 004, and up next will be 001. 004, I will be promoting you now. 004, your speaker order number is number 2. If you will please make note of that for future reference. You can now enable your audio and video in the lower left corner of your screen. If you'll please remind the mapper of what area you would like to discuss today, the floor is yours.
Hello, I live in Antioch, California. Hello.
Go ahead.
Okay, can I begin now?
Yes, please.
Okay, I am Harry Thurston. I am a 34-year resident of the city of Antioch, California. Antioch is located in East Contra Costa County, situated on the southern bank of the San Joaquin River, bordered to the west by the city of Pittsburgh, to the east by the city of Oakley, and to the south by the city of Brentwood. Antioch is a San Joaquin River Delta city, noted for being the gateway to the San Joaquin River Delta. The water management of the San Joaquin River Delta is a major concern for the citizens of Antioch, population of 115,000, but also for all the citizens of Stockton, Brentwood, Oakley, Discovery Bay, Bethel Island, Knightson, Byron, also located in and around the San Joaquin River Delta. Thus, this is a regional water management concern for a combined citizenry estimated at 542,000. The regional water management concerns are over availability and quality of drinking water, recreational water use, and agricultural use of this delta resource. This requires unified regional water governance of these water resources from the San Joaquin River Delta that is shared between these various delta locations. Thus, my ask. I am requesting that the California Citizens Redistricting Commission consider any redistricting recommendation that these cities, due to their proximity and their shared need for a regional delta water management approach, that these cities be grouped together in a redistricting boundary any redistricting boundary decision. Thus, currently they're in CD9 and probably best to leave them in CD9. Thank you very much. Any questions?
No, that was very clear. And thank you for listing all the different cities.
Thank you. Your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Right now we have 001, and up next will be 005. 001, I will be promoting you now. .001, your speaker order number will be number 3, if you'll please make note of that for future reference. If you'll please remind the mapper what area you would like to discuss today, the floor is yours.
Hello, can you hear me?
Sure can.
Okay, great. My name is Conan Moats, and I live in Oakley, California as well. Looks like we've got a strong showing for East Contra Costa County here, which makes me happy. And like the two previous speakers, I would like to show my support for District 9 maintaining the integrity that it currently.
Looks like we have a frozen screen.
A distinct community.
Sir,
hello?
Can you restart? You actually froze.
Yes, hello?
Yes, you're live now, but you did freeze, so if you'll go ahead and just restart.
Yeah, it says my internet connection is unstable. I pay top dollar for it. I don't know what to say.
Can
you hear me?
Yes, I can. Speaker 001, could you please disable your video? That might help with your
sure.
With your transmission.
Video is disabled.
All right, we're going to start your time again. Go ahead and start over.
Okay, thank you. If for some reason I should have more technical difficulties, I want it to be known that the previous two speakers share my sentiments. So again, I live in Oakley, California. My name is Conan Moats, and I am speaking on behalf of District 9, maintaining its integrity as a district. Should reapportionment occur, I would like it to be essentially what it is now. What do we have in common as a community, East Contra Costa County? Well, we have the Delta. The Delta essentially forms a natural cohesive unit. From Antioch, the gateway to the Delta, Oakley is the heart of the Delta. Knightson, Brentwood, Disco Bay, Byron, even, I consider Stockton, which is in San Joaquin County, but still to be part of us. We have a huge boating community out here. People come from the Bay Area and from other parts of the state to enjoy our thousands of miles of waterways. This employs several thousand people in water recreation, from boat mechanics to to the many marinas that are out here. And so the water in the Delta is one thing that we definitely have in common. We drink the same water and we recreate on the same water. The district that we're not, so between the us and then the other, I always, in my mind, I think of it as once you got into East Contra Costa County, once you've gone over the hill, if you know the geography, which is technically in Pittsburgh, I believe, the Mount Diablo, we're kind of in the rain shadow of Mount Diablo. There is a hill that Pittsburgh is part of it as well. And then on the other side of it, you have Concord and Bay Point, Clayton, et cetera. So I feel like once you get past that hill, you're in East County and you're in the Delta. And you can see that Antioch is split right in half. I don't know the history of that or why that is. I don't necessarily have a problem with it, but I do think that, the Delta water, that's who we are. The San Joaquin Delta, as opposed to Sacramento Delta. So I think that I've made my point clear, and I thank you for your time. Do you have any questions for me?
No, that was very clear. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much. I'd like to invite 006. Oh, there you guys see your hand. So right now will be 005, and then up next will be 006. 005, I will be promoting you now. 005, your speaker order number will be number 4. If you'll please make note of that for future reference. And if you'll please remind the mapper of what area you would like to discuss, the floor is yours.
Yes, if I can remind the mapper to please pull up Oakland area and Alameda County, especially Interstate 980 area, Old Town Oakland, please.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, so good afternoon, Commission. My name is Renee Torres, and I'm a student of the Martin Luther King Jr. Freedom Center in Oakland. The Freedom Center is an independent nonprofit that gets youth involved in civic engagement and community organizing, following Dr. King's principles of nonviolence. We advocate for democracy and work to ensure that historically omitted voices are heard. Today, I will be addressing redistricting in Congressional District 13. District 13 is filled with people from every demographic and generation. Our district is intersectional, and it must be kept together in order to preserve the bonds we have formed. District 13 is home to every social identity and demographic. It is the embodiment of California's culture and is the most diverse state in our country. So Saturday, June 19th, 2021, I attended a Juneteenth festival at Lake Merritt, which is located in the center of Oakland. The 3-mile shoreline was filled with vendors and businesses, mainly from the Black community, in order to commemorate and honor the roots they share with Juneteenth. It was a historical and moving experience, as I have never been immersed in any single culture as much as I was on Juneteenth. The environment was comforting and lively. Attendees were walking, picnicking, socializing, and exercising unity. Juneteenth at Lake Merritt is not the only gathering hosted there. It is home to a multitude of organizations, demographics, and social classes. Every walk of life within District 13 contributes to the vitality and unity of the lake. Currently, grassroots organizers are working to reconnect the Black and Brown communities of Western and downtown Oakland by advocating for the remodeling of highways such as Interstate 980. If District 13's lines are not maintained, movements like these will suffer. Moreover, as this community navigates these issues, they cannot afford any additional transportation changes that could arise from redistricting. Congressional District 13 is home to single parents, immigrant workers, LGBTQIA+ members, animal rights activists, bipartisan residents, religious groups, impoverished youth, and so many more. Our communities and neighborhoods thrive off intersectionality and deserve a seat at the table. Having taken the time to study and commemorate certain communities of interest in District 13, it has become more clear to me that this is not just a place of residency for over 760,000 people.
Seconds.
It is a home where diversity, community, and amiability are instilled within each resident. Thank you all for your time today and granting me the space to provide my input on Congressional District 13. Thank
You're
you.
on camera.
Thank you, Ms. Torres.
Thank you so much. Right now will be 006. I'd like to invite those that have called in to please press star 9 on their telephone keypad to raise their hand indicating they wish to comment. But right now we have 006, and up next will be caller 5414. 006, I will be promoting you now. Your speaker order number will be number 5. If you'll please make note of that for future reference, and if you'll please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss, the floor is yours.
Hi, could I please have air in Oakland, 6th Street to 12th Street, Chinatown?
More westerly.
Hmm?
We're just bringing up the map.
Oh.
A little bit more westerly, yeah. Okay, there.
Okay. Okay, can I start?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, please.
Okay. Hi, my name is Skylar Rockmill. I'm a youth activist from the Martin Luther King Freedom Center who is passionate about issues related to redistricting. I live in Berkeley, California, and I am a proud citizen of Congressional District 13. I'm here today because I believe that strength and change come from unity. Now I ask you, commissioners, to hear my thinking, hours of research, and positive intentions for my community. In these last months, Asian hate has immensely spiked. BBC shared that there is 9 times more Asian American hate today than in 2019. These recent acts of terror spotlight the importance of keeping Asian communities intact and united. In order to do this, the city of Oakland must not split up. In Oakland, there is a lively Chinatown from 6th Street to 12th Street. This area allows traditional Chinese businesses and culture to thrive. It is a bubble inside the vast diversity of Oakland that unites Asian Americans. In my research on communities of interest in the Bay Area, I found a larger number of Asian businesses in District 13 than I did in neighboring Districts 11 and 15. Such businesses include Asian markets, salons, and tea houses. Unlike District 13, the cities of Kensington and Lafayette in District 11 have few Asian businesses and Asian populations below 12%. With such a low Asian population and less diversity, the fight for Asian American rights would not be as strong as it is in District 13. By including these cities in District 13, the white population would grow disproportionately, and the diverse culture and activism would be diminished. In my research, I also found differing priorities among congressional districts 13 and 15. I discovered numerous organizations in District 13 advocating for equal LGBTQ+, racial, and gender rights. While in District 15, I did not find an abundance of these organizations, I instead saw that District 15 had more organizations that focused on support for children. With such different priorities, expansions into any of these cities will create a complete disconnect in the community. Finally, I would like to talk about my personal perspective as a Jewish teenager living in District 13. In District 13, I proudly wear my Jewish Star of David necklace. But this is one of the few districts where I publicly share my religion. My religion is a small, close-knit community that has dealt with years of anti-Semitism. Although we are small in numbers, we are strong in spirit, and we value community. Splitting up District 13 that would dilute the voice of the already small Jewish population. I urge the Commission to please keep Congressional 13 the same. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Right now we have caller 5414. And up next will be caller 7033. And I would like to invite those other callers in the queue to please press star 9, indicating you wish to comment. Again, please press star 9 to raise your hand, indicating you wish to comment. Caller with the last four, 5414, if you will please follow the prompts to unmute at this time by pressing star 6 on your telephone keypad. Caller 5414, I have a couple of brief instructions for you. Your speaker order number will be number 6. If you will please make note of that for future reference. And if you'll please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss today, the floor is yours.
I'd like to discuss the 2nd Congressional District, which runs from Marin County up the coast to the Oregon border.
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
My name is Phil Gross, Grosse. I'm president of the Hacienda Improvement Association, which is a homeowners association in a small unincorporated town along the lower Russian River. I'm a resident of Petaluma, California, in Sonoma County. I'm also a legislative advocate for the California Democratic Party Rural Caucus. I'm here today to advocate for keeping the coastal counties together in a single district. Our common social and economic interests from the Golden Gate Bridge to the Oregon border include the redwoods, our Native American communities, our dairy and agriculture industries, our fisheries, Highway 101, and lousy broadband, with the hope that perhaps help in that regard is on the way. But the most important features, in my opinion, are the rivers, specifically the Russian and the Eel. Since 1908, when they punched a hole in a mountain and diverted water from the Eel River to the headwaters of the Russian River, those two rivers have been physically linked. Diversions from the Eel keep the Russian River flowing in the summertime. It used to dry up in the summer. That provides recreation. It provides irrigation for our vineyards and our agriculture. And of course, it provides drinking water for 600,000 people from north of Ukiah all the way to Marin County. Since PG&E unceremoniously decided not to renew their ownership of the two dams that create that diversion, there's been a two-basin task force trying to find solutions to help both rivers, to improve the fisheries in the Eel River, and to make sure that the Russian River has enough water flowing through it to support the people that live along that river now that didn't live there in 1908. The last thing we need is to have this district broken up so that people representing each of those two watersheds are on opposite sides of a political divide. It's really critical that we keep the 2nd Congressional District together. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Right now we have caller 7033, and up next will be caller 0564. And again, I'd like to invite those in the queue to please press star 9, indicating you wish to comment. Caller 7033, if you will please follow the prompts to unmute at this time by pressing star 6. Caller 7033, I have a couple of brief instructions. Your speaker order number will be number 7, if you'll please make note of that for future reference. And if you'll please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss today, the floor is yours.
Yes, can you pull up International Boulevard and MacArthur Boulevard, Cross Street, Durant Avenue? Good afternoon, Commissioner. My name is Erica. I'm a fellow of the Martin Luther King Freedom Center and a rising sophomore at Bishop O'Dowd High School. I live in the 13th Congressional District in Alameda County. I am here to talk about the African American communities in District 13. I've lived in Oakland for 10 years, so I know the environment well. My parents are pastor and first lady of a local church, and while living here, we've done outreach and missionary work in the local community. We go to different neighborhoods, speak to the people living there, invite them to church, and hear their stories. I have had the privilege to never live under or close to the poverty line. However, based on the knowledge that we have acquired during our missionary work, I can say that that is not the case for a lot of the people living in this city. From my personal experience, I have seen that the people of this city have learned to depend on their neighborhood shops and businesses. Those fortunate enough to have cars don't want to have to pay high gas prices when that money could be used instead for rent, groceries, or bills. In Oakland, African American owned or catered businesses tend to be concentrated together, and the people who utilize them tend to live close by as well. For example, there are a lot of beauty supplies that are on International Boulevard and on MacArthur Boulevard. To name a few, you have Beauty Supply Shop, T&T Beauty, and Ebony Beauty Supply. All of these happen to be within 10 blocks of each other and get a lot of business from the people who live close by. For people who don't have cars, public transportation is their only way to get places. If the shops they visit regularly were more spread out, getting around would be more costly. Even though public transportation is cheap, riding it every day can start to add up. Separating these shops and businesses into different districts could prevent residents from being able to vote in their own interests. Losing or breaking up any part of the cities of Oakland or San Leandro would be devastating for the African American community in Congressional District 13. Thank you for your time and consideration this afternoon.
Thank you so much. Right now we have caller 0564. I'd like to invite unique ID code 007 to please use the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen if you are ready to give comment. So right now we will have caller 0564 and then up next will be 007. Caller 0564, if you will please follow the prompts to unmute. Caller 0564, I have a couple of brief instructions. Your speaker order number will be number 8, if you'll please make note of that for future reference. And if you'll please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss today, the floor is yours.
Hi, my name is Mia. I'd like to speak about the East Solano County. I've lived in Solano County for most of my life. I have family members throughout the whole Bay Area. My grandma lives in Benicia. My mother owns a small business in Vacaville, and Solano County is where I'm raising my family. I can see how in the last 10 years, Solano and many surrounding countries have been affected by the Bay Area's ballooning growth, old lines that have been blurred, whether it's Tracy in San Joaquin County, Brentwood in Contra Costa County, or Rio Vista in Solano County, it's all the same story. The Delta is not a physical barrier, but rather unites a common experience. It also creates common problems in need of common solutions. Maybe not this year because of the drought, but the Delta is incredibly vulnerable to flooding. Much of the new housing is replacing low-lying farmland and sometimes below sea level. Many Solano residents commute out of the county going west to the Bay Area or east to Sacramento. More people means more traffic. As a former health care provider, I can tell you air quality is growing to a growing concern. These new residents are only adding to long-standing ties between Solano and the Bay Area. Jelly Belly may have historical roots in Oakland and have been Ronald Reagan's favorite Bay Area treat, but they are actually now made here in Solano. We, of course, do have our county supervisors who tackle local concerns. But the other issues, from water access to freeways, having state and federal legislators who can look for common solutions to broader issues, sometimes does mean crossing county lines. District lines should also allow us to address not only the growth in the last 10 years, but the challenges sure to come in the next 10. Thank you for letting me share a little bit of the community in Solano County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Right now we will have unique ID code 007. I'd like to invite those in the queue that have called in to please press star 9 on their telephone keypad, indicating they wish to comment at this time. In 007, I will be promoting you now. 007, your speaker order number will be number 9, if you'll please make note of that for future reference. You can now enable your audio and video in the lower left corner of your screen. If you will please remind the mapper of what area you would like to discuss today, the floor is yours.
Hi, my name is Sue Higgins, and I would like to discuss Oakley, California to Stockton, California. I have lived in Oakley since 1999 for 22 years. I would like to keep my community together. We are connected by water. Through the Big Break Marina in Oakley and East Bay Parks, we have access to the Delta. Just this year, I have attended 2 fishing tournaments where we get in the boats and they go all the way to Stockton. Bringing anglers from all over, we enjoy the best fishing around. Oakley is one of the biggest employers of school teachers. And unlike Stockton, who needs those jobs, we've been working together in our school districts and in our employment, look at how we can cooperate together. And keeping this together, our congressman, who is a scientist, also working on how the Delta and the climate change, and he advocates for prevention of the sea rise. And he wants we want to keep our communities united. It's important to serve the whole picture as one in helping our environment. Thank you.
Caller, you mentioned that Stockton and Oakley are keeping them together. Are you thinking of other communities as well, or those just those two in particular?
Well, it's the whole line, because Oakley, it starts with the water along Antioch, Brentwood, Oakley, and then we grab in Knights and Bethel Island as we continue all the way to the San Joaquin. And that whole environment is really one structure. If you look at the Delta, you know, it's our waterway, it's our life, it's one community along there.
That helps. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Right now we have a caller with the last 42547. I'd like to invite those that have called in to please press star 9 on their telephone keypad, indicating they wish to comment. But at this time, caller 2547, if you will please follow the prompts to unmute by pressing star 6 on your telephone keypad. Thank you so much, caller 2547. Your speaker order number will be number 10, if you'll please make note of that for future reference. And if you'll please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss today, the floor is yours.
I would like to discuss District 13, particularly the cities of Berkeley, Oakland, and San Leandro. Okay. Good afternoon, Commissioners. First, thank you for all of your work. I really appreciate you taking time to listen to me today. My name is Isa, and I'm a rising senior at Bishop O'Dowd High School in Oakland, and I'm also a student at the Martin Luther King Freedom Center. I love living in District 13 because it constantly offers opportunities for me to experience a variety of cultures, meet different kinds of people, and ultimately grow as a person. For this reason, I'm spending my last summer of high school working to keep it together. And I'm here to ask you to make sure that it is not divided during the redistricting process. This summer, I have been researching the Native American community of interest, and I discovered that it is thriving despite America's troubled history. According to the Bay Area Equity Atlas, today, the Bay Area has become one of the largest populations of intertribal Indians in the country. For some historical context, District 13 was originally home to the Ohlone tribe. But this changed when the government passed the 1965 Indian Relocation Act, which was an effort to encourage Native Americans to leave their reservations and assimilate into urban society with the promise of a better life. Unfortunately, the act ultimately failed to make good on that promise, but many Native Americans from communities in the Southwest, Great Plains, and Eastern Woodlands still ended up in urban areas, particularly the Bay Area. This led to the establishment of the first urban Native American community center, known as the Intertribal Friendship House, which still stands in Oakland today. District 13 also houses the Native American Health Center, which has been providing health services to Native Americans in the area since 1972. Healthcare is an important issue for Native Americans because moving to urban areas often results in loss of access to tribal healthcare services. There are several other significant Native American cultural centers in District 13, located in Oakland and San Leandro. And Berkeley is home to a Native American-run publishing company and the only Native American newspaper in all of California. Dividing the Native community in District 13 would likely disrupt the unity and strength they have worked hard to build up. So please don't. Of course, there is a possibility that District 13 will need to expand. Native Americans in District 13 do not share much in common with the communities of surrounding districts other than District 11. In particular, Richmond has a branch of the Native American Health Center, and El Cerrito contains the main office of the California Indian Environmental Alliance. Therefore, if expansion is necessary, please consider expanding District 13 into District 11 because it will bolster a connection that already exists. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, the Native American Health Center is where I got my COVID shots.
Thank you so much. I would like to invite those in the queue to please press star 9, indicating you wish to comment. For those waiting in the queue, if you would wish to comment, pressing star 9 on your telephone keypad will raise your hand. So please press star 9. Caller 6715. If you'll please follow the prompts to unmute by pressing star 6 on your telephone keypad. Caller 6715, you are unmuted. I have a couple of brief instructions. Your speaker order number will be number 11. If you'll please make note of that for future reference. And if you'll please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss today, the floor is yours.
I'd like to discuss on District 5. Hi, I'm Eloise Scott. I've been here in Vallejo for more than 40 years. And I really would like to recommend that District 5 will be maintained. And Vallejo and Napa, we are directly between, we should, we shared in the Napa Vallejo Solid West. We share the Water and Economy Management Authority. Our tourism, both Vallejo and Napa industry, are closely integrated, such as the winery, ferry business, Six Flags, Mare Island, and our common interest with water and transportation and economies related ego. Both Vallejo and Napa are very diverse communities. So I really encourage to maintain the District 5.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I would like to invite those in the queue to please press star 9 on their telephone keypad, indicating they wish to comment. Please press star 9 on your telephone keypad, indicating you wish to comment. Caller 1270. If you'll please follow the prompts to unmute by pressing star 6. Caller 1270, if you'll press star 6 on your telephone keypad to unmute. Caller 1270, you are unmuted. I have a couple of brief instructions. Your speaker order number will be number 12. If you will please make note of that for future reference. And if you'll please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss, the floor is yours. Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
Thank you. My family and I moved to Brentwood, California from Georgia because it was not only affordable, but also because of the picturesque nature trails, the amazing farmers markets, and the proximity to the Delta waterways. The Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta impacts not only my city, but many other cities out here in the East Contra Costa County. I have a friend who lives on Pete Moss Island, Bethel Island, which means that she experiences both the good and the bad of being connected to the Delta. We in East Contra Costa are concerned about what can happen to the ecosystem of the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta and its tributaries if the district lines are not drawn properly. There are many concerns, including the future existence of the Delta and the effect of climate change if they aren't addressed to include specific issues like salt intrusion into the freshwater estuaries of the Delta. As an example, this affects farmers in Rio Vista and other cities who can't irrigate with high tide because of the salinity in the water, which not only will destroy their crops, but also destroy the balance of the soil. Mitigating the soil after it's been saturated with salt is very expensive and time consuming. Farmers have neither. The health of the only remaining agricultural lands in cultivation in Contra Costa County and the shared labor with the San Joaquin farming communities creates a strong agricultural contribution that is necessary for our continued well-being. Another concern is the sea levels rising, which present flooding threats to communities and farms, as I mentioned before, especially after an El Nino drought, followed by a really wet El Nino rainy season. This can result in catastrophic infrastructures and property damage. From a practical standpoint, all the cities around the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta should be in the same district, and including the little piece of the city of Antioch, which is currently not included, to make the city whole. We need representation that will listen and properly legislate to protect, keep healthy, and help the Delta ecosystem thrive. Thank you.
Caller, thank you so much for your input. You mentioned Brentwood and part of Antioch and Bethel Island. Could you name other cities that you have in mind when you talk about the Delta?
Yes, in East Contra Costa, the cities that are around there are Knightson, Byron, Oakley, Brentwood, Antioch, which is in the far east part. And then when you continue further, of course, Rio Vista. And then before that, it would be Pittsburgh, which is not in our district, but it's also affected by the same water flow.
Very good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. And right now we have a caller with the last four 8860. If you will please follow the prompts to unmute by pressing star 6. Caller 8860, you are unmuted. I have a couple of brief instructions. Your speaker order number will be 13, if you'll please make note of that for future reference. If you'll please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss today, the floor is yours. Hello, can you hear me? Caller with the last four digits 8860, can you hear me? What? You just muted yourself. If you'll press star 6 on your telephone keypad, it will unmute you. Caller 8860, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
I sure can. Your speaker order number will be 13, if you'll please make note of that. And if you'll let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss, the floor is yours.
Yes, my name is Don Pruitt, and I'm a staff member for Contra Costa County Supervisor Candace Anderson, speaking to you today on her behalf. Her current district, District 2, currently includes San Ramon, Danville, Alamo, Lafayette, Moraga, Orinda, Canyon, Rossmore, Parkmead, Saranac, and a portion of Walnut Creek. Three of these communities, San Ramon, Danville, and Alamo, help make up a distinct region in the East Bay that spreads across both Contra Costa County and Alameda County, the Tri-Valley. Given her role in representing a portion of the Tri-Valley, Supervisor Anderson views it as important to keep this region together. There is extensive government collaboration and coordination. To accomplish this, however, her district would need to add several communities to the east, such as Tracy and Mountain House, and even possibly parts of eastern Contra Costa to comprise a full district and meet the population requirements. This is a community of interest, one with an abundance of residents who work and live together as a broader community. Common commute destinations include the likes of Livermore National Laboratory and Bishop Ranch. Many of the students at Las Positas College in Livermore are from Tracy and Mountain House. The Tri-Valley's transportation needs serves those towns, which also share Interstate 580 and the Valley Link project and 8 stops in Livermore and Pleasanton. If the Tri-Valley must be divided, however, for any of these three legislative districts you write, the natural dividing line is 580. If that were the case, Supervisor Anderson would be in favor of keeping Dublin, Pleasanton, and Livermore together with communities to the east along 580, such as Mountain House and Tracy, and more if needed. This proposal would be logical given the collaborative efforts these communities engage in when it comes to transportation and housing advocacy. Furthermore, they share the commute routes along 580 and are similarly of semi-rural and suburban composition. They all share the semi-agricultural ties with cattle grazing, and they share water resources and water interests, so keep the Tri-Valley together. But if you must divide it, the 580 corridor makes the most sense. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We do have one more caller in the queue. I invite them to press *9 on their telephone keypad, indicating they wish to comment. That is pressing *9 on your telephone keypad. Will raise your hand, indicating you wish to comment. At this time, Chair, looks like we don't have any raised hands.
Okay, thank you, Katie. Very good. Just a reminder to visit our website at wedrawthelineca.org. It's wedrawthelineca, all one word, CA for California, wedrawthelineca.org. There you can sign up for our emails and learn more about the commission meetings and get updates and announcements. We're also on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Our handle is at WeDrawTheLineCA. It's at WeDrawTheLineCA. We'll be holding these community of interest public input meetings throughout the summer, and you can see the schedule for those at wedrawthelineca.org. There's also our mapping tool at drawmycacommunity.org. That's drawmycacommunity, all one word, .org. That tool is available in English, Spanish, Simplified Chinese, Traditional Chinese, Vietnamese, Tagalog, Korean, Armenian, Farsi, Arabic, Russian, Japanese, Punjabi, Khmer, Hmong, Ye Sunili, and Thai. Tutorials are available in those languages for the mapping tool. You can also email us at votersfirstact@crc.ca.gov. That's votersfirstact@crc.ca.gov. Or send us snail mail at Citizens Redistricting Commission, 721 Capitol Mall, Suite 260. That's 721 Capitol Mall, Suite 260, Sacramento, California, 95814. We have interpretation available on request. Requests must be submitted at least 5 business days ahead of time. You can submit your requests via email at interpreter.request. It's interpreter.request@crc.ca.gov. I think we have a caller, Katie.
We do, Chair. Caller 1669. If you will please follow the prompts to unmute by pressing *6 on your telephone keypad. Caller 1669. Your speaker order number will be number 14, if you'll please make note of that for future reference. And if you'll please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss today, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. It's just a general comment. I'm particularly concerned with the impartiality of the commission, and I really respect the idea behind the commission that it be bipartisan and that there be equal numbers of the different parties. But recently, I think it's come to light that many, if not all, of the staff, including the executive director, Mr. Hernandez, chief counsel, Mr. Payne, outreach director, community communications manager, they're all registered Democrats. I'm an independent myself. I believe that it's really important that the commission be bipartisan, and so that the gerrymandering and things of that nature don't come into the equation here. But I mean, when the Central California field lead, Southern California field lead, Northern California field lead, all registered Democrats, to my knowledge, not a single registered Republican among the redistricting staff. It does beg some questions as to how impartial the committee can really be when obviously the commissioners are their party affiliations are stated and there are equal numbers of them, but the staff, I'm sure, play a huge role in the way in which the lines are drawn. And it just doesn't seem as though too much care, if any, has gone into making sure that the level of impartiality that is enforced on the commission is equally as enforced upon the staff. So it's just a general concern, and I don't expect that there would be much response by the commission to this, but just a concern of mine, it being that the impartiality of the commission be maintained both among the staff as well as among the commissioners.
Thank you. We appreciate your comments and concerns.
That was all of our callers at this time, Chair.
Very good. Thank you, Katie. We have upcoming another community of interest public input meeting tomorrow. That's Friday, July 30th at 4 p.m. That will be back down in Los Angeles County as our focus and its surrounding areas. Registration for that meeting tomorrow has already closed, but callers are still welcome to call in. Then on Saturday, the 31st, we have a communities of interest public input meeting focused on Riverside and San Bernardino counties and surrounding areas. The registration for that closes tonight at 5 p.m. We do encourage appointments and registration, however, it's not required. The next community of interest input meeting after that will be on Wednesday, August 4th. Wednesday, August 4th at 4 p.m. That will focus on Fresno, Kern, Kings, Madera, Merced, San Joaquin, Stanislaus, and Tulare counties and their surrounding areas. Then on that August 4th meeting, we'll have both Spanish and Punjabi listening lines provided. They do not have to be requested. They will be provided automatically. Registration for the August 4th meetings closes this Monday at 5 p.m. So that's the August 4th meeting, focused on Fresno, Kern, Kings, Madera, Merced, San Joaquin, Stanislaus, and Tulare counties and the surrounding areas, with translation being provided, interpretation being provided in Spanish and Punjabi for listening, and available interpretation as well for giving comments. You're not required to make an appointment to provide input at any of these meetings. However, we do recommend it. You can call in the day of the meeting. At our meetings, we are still holding all of our meetings virtually, so anyone in California can provide input. And you can always go to our website, wedrawtheline.ca.org, for more meeting information. Okay, it looks like we don't have any callers. Perhaps we can go to the 5-minute video.
Yes, Chair.
Welcome back. We continue with the Communities of Interest input meeting for the California Citizens Redistricting Commission, with an emphasis on the Bay Area. Let's see, Katie, can we have the call-in instructions read, please?
Absolutely, Chair. In order to maximize transparency and public participation in our process, the commissioners will be taking community of interest input by phone. To call in, dial the telephone number provided on the live stream feed. It is 853-5247. When prompted to enter the meeting ID number on the live stream feed, it is 851-2663-3433 for this meeting. When prompted to enter a participant ID, simply press the pound key. Once you have dialed in, you'll be placed in a queue. To indicate you wish to comment, please press star 9. This will raise your hand for the moderator. When it is your turn to speak, you will hear a message that says, "The host would like you to talk," and to press star 6 to speak. If you would like to give your name, please state and spell it for the record. You are not required to provide your name to give public comment. Please make sure to mute your computer or live stream audio to prevent any feedback or distortion during your call. Once you are waiting in the queue, be alert for when it is your turn to speak, and again, please turn down the live stream volume. And at this time, Chair, we do not have any callers in the queue.
Okay, well, then it must be time for commissioner stories. Experiences in the Bay Area, or things you'd like to visit, or trivia, or anything else you'd like to share. The Bay Area has never hosted the Olympics. Maybe that'll happen someday. Commissioner Kutagawa.
Okay, so I have to say, this just literally just dawned on me just during the break because I order peaches from a place called Frog Hollow Farms in Contra Costa County. It just finally clicked that it's coming from a city they're in a place called Brentwood. And we've just been hearing one caller almost after the other talking about Contra Costa County and Brentwood. And I realized, oh, okay, so this is where this particular farm is located. And I order these, basically I order stone fruits from them because I never know whether if I'm going to get good quality peaches. And I just really love those. So I would rather pay a little extra and make sure I'm going to get very tasty, sweet peaches and nectarines. And so I've been ordering from them, and it just finally dawned on me. Everything just clicked. So I just share that little aha that I had. And if anybody's interested in buying peaches, I would recommend them in terms of buying stone fruits and other things like that. So, and maybe one day I'll be able to visit them.
Even better, there's a lot of pick your own places. You go out for a day and pick your own fruits.
Yeah. I've done that also along over in Lodi as well too. I had a chance to go up there up in the Merced area. So that was a lot of fun. And I know that I don't know if Lodi is in Contra Costa. I think it's more San Joaquin, but I will note that there's some interesting, what do they call it? I think ancestral vine wineries in that area. So that was an interesting discovery too.
Let's see, Katie, is that a caller that we have?
It is, Chair. I would like to invite those that have called in to please press star 9 on your telephone keypad to raise your hand, indicating you wish to comment at this time. Again, if you'll please press star 9 to raise your hand, indicating you wish to comment. And that is for a caller with the last 4 digits, 1554. If you there's your hand. All right. If you will please follow the prompts to unmute by pressing star 6 on your telephone keypad. Caller 1554, I have a couple of brief instructions for you. Your speaker order number will be 15. If you will please make note of that for future reference. And if you'll please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss today, the floor is yours.
Yes, hi. This is Rosanna Verderliga from Vallejo. We're in Congressman Thompson's District 5, Congressional District. Hello, did you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I am in support of Vallejo being part of the congressional district of Congressman Mike Thompson. I believe very strongly that Vallejo should be with Napa because we share a lot of, common interests. We share, Highway 37. We also have the Napa River goes into Mare Island Strait and into the Bay, and our interests are very closely aligned, as well as, Congressman Thompson, who's been a stalwart spokesperson for our interests, Mare Island and our waterfront and veterans issues as well. We have the Mare Island Naval Cemetery in Vallejo, and he has been a very ardent supporter of the Mare Island Cemetery going back with VA's jurisdiction. So that is, my request. I'm also an elected official in Vallejo. I'm the vice mayor of Vallejo, and has been in an elected position for the last 25 years, and very in tune with the issues that we share, common interests that we have in common with the Napa area and the congressional district, fifth congressional district of Congressman Mike Thompson. So that is my request and my hope that we will stay with Congressman Thompson's district.
Very good, thank you.
That was all of our callers at this time, Chair.
Okay, other commissioner stories connected to the Bay Area? Commissioner Anderson.
I might just say about what Commissioner Kutagawa said, you should try their jellies and jams. And but speaking of that, is all the fruit areas. What a lot of people don't know is there are several areas which you would not have any idea where some of the best stone fruits were in San Mateo County and also in Alameda County. And let's just say Fruitvale wasn't called Fruitvale for nothing. And in San Mateo, just south of the San Francisco airport, several communities in there were nothing but stone fruit orchards.
Fruitvale is a neighborhood in Oakland. It's actually right near me.
Can I ask a clarification?
Sure.
Commissioner Anderson, are you talking about Frog Hollow Farms? Fruits? Frog Hollow Farms, yes. They have wonderful jellies and jams. I actually make my own jellies and jams, and preserves.
Ooh.
That's why I order from there too.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Good.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Okay, so my favorite place to visit, which I know is going to seem really weird to everybody else, maybe not Commissioner Taylor, but I love Alcatraz and I love San Quentin State Prison. Just the historical on both of them, it just really intrigues me. And so I love all the movies that have probably seen every movie of Alcatraz that's ever shown, and then just San Quentin. Yes, it's a prison, but it has a beautiful view of the bay, which many of you probably cannot go there. But if you go into the dining hall, I can't remember what year it was, but they have just the beautiful mural by an incarcerated person that was there over the years. He drew it, and it's absolutely incredible and just inspiring in terms of just the gift that he had in painting. But anyway, so I know it's probably not everybody's favorite, but I love Alcatraz and San Quentin. And I guess I'll have to do a little shout out to the two in Solano of CMF and Correctional State Prison Solano, but those other two are my favorite.
You should write a guidebook, Commissioner Fernandez.
Well, I have two exciting memories to share, and it's not the prison, Commissioner Fernandez. So like I said, and I've said before, I was born in San Francisco and spent most of my life in Richmond. But two things. So first of all, in San Francisco, I think one of the first experiences I had driving, I got my license and I was driving, trying and got a little bit turned around and ended up coming from Richmond and ended up going towards the Bay Bridge. This is before they had the new beautiful bridge now. And I was freaked out the whole time, like, oh my God, I have to cross the bridge. I'm so afraid and I'm crying. And and all weirded out. And I kept looking for opportunities to get off, and I didn't know where to get off. And I felt like I'm going to be stuck and I'm going to have to go across the bridge, the horror of it all as a brand new driver. And here's the thing that I don't know if many people knew or would have occasion to know. So I was in the far right lane, and I got to the toll booth, and I'm just like a mess by this point. I'm like, and I'm so scared. And then, I probably was all of like 17, 18 years old. And I'm like, I'm so scared to go across the bridge. And they're like, oh, it's okay. They radioed across, and maybe some of you know this, and those little I guess, tubes that stick up, they said, okay, they stopped all the traffic and told me to just go on across. And I was like, I can't fit through those. And they're like, yeah, just run over them, just go across. And I was like, what? And so, so they stopped the traffic. So I drove all the way across the cones. And at this point, it just became adventure. It was just fun. It was like, oh my God, it ended up being the best thing in my life. So I got a chance to turn around and come back. So that was pretty cool on the Bay Bridge. And then fast forward in time, wouldn't you know it, I was on the Bay Bridge for our big quake that we had, an earthquake when the bridge collapsed. And so my husband and I were both on the Bay Bridge coming from San Francisco back to our house in Richmond at the time. And at about that 5 o'clock hour, as always does happen, traffic stopped, no big deal. We just kept moving and talking. It always happened. And then we saw a sea of people coming towards our direction, walking, marching, crying. And they were saying the bridge is falling. And that particular day we had both cars, we were behind each other on the bridge. And so we were out of the car, but it was like, what do you mean? Like, is falling or did fall, or how should we receive this information? Because we didn't want to leave our cars, it's kind of where our mind was on the bridge. And at whatever rate, we do know the history of what did occur then, as unfortunate as it was. But we stayed there till almost about 11 when Caltrans came and had enough cars that they were able to get off. And we just turned around and had to navigate through the cars to come back on. But kind of a scary time. And now we have the brand new bridge that I've ridden my bike across. And so, lots of bridge stories for me, but lots of history in the Bay Area, period.
That's an amazing story. 2 stories. Actually, what we needed is a pedestrian lane on the western side of the Bay Bridge. And that way we could actually run from San Francisco to Oakland and back across the Richmond Bridge to San Quentin and San Rafael and all the way around the Golden Gate. And it would all be a bikeable, runnable path, except for that 2 mile stretch of the western half of the Bay Bridge. That's the only part that doesn't have pedestrian access. Any other stories? Commissioner Sinai.
Commissioner Turner, that story was amazing. I thought you were going to tell, in some bridges, if you tell them you're scared, they actually have drivers who will drive your car across for you. So I thought that's what you were going to tell. So yeah.
Nope, they stopped it for me.
That's great. I remember I was living in DC when the quake happened, and my roommate at the time was from the Bay Area, from Novato, and we were watching the game, and it was the most helpless situation, being so far away from her family and watching this all evolve and not being able, it's pre-cell phones and all that, and just trying to call and know what's happening. And, we were 3 hours ahead. The reverse happened when the LA earthquake happened, which was the Northridge earthquake. I was still in DC, and my mom called me at way too early for a young woman. And she's like, we're all okay. And I'm like, great. And I'm like going along with it, but I had no clue what had happened. She got so mad at me for not knowing. But I think we've talked about earthquake. Well, we had an earthquake in one of our redistricting public input. So it is really part of our lives. And I always think it's funny that my mom absolutely fears them and has only lived in places with big earthquakes, Lima, Peru, Mexico City, and now California.
Here we are. Okay, friends, it's 5:30, time for our first break. So we'll be on break until 5:45. After that, Commissioner Toledo, back from a media interview, will be chairing the meeting.
Welcome back to the California Citizens Redistricting Commission Communities of Interest Input meeting. We are encouraging you to visit the Communities of Interest tool to draw a map and describe your community by visiting drawmycacommunity.org. With that, I will pass this over to Katie, our comments moderator, to continue with public input. We will start with those individuals who have registered and then open up the phone line for those, if there's time, before the next session.
Thank you, Chair. I apologize. Welcome to the public input session. Please use the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen to enter the queue. When it is your turn to speak, you will be identified by your assigned unique ID number, which you were emailed yesterday. You will be reconnected to the session with your ability to enable your own video and or audio. You will then be assigned a speaker order number before you begin speaking. Please make a note of your speaker order number for future reference. The Commission will be enforcing a 3-minute time limit. There will be a warning at 30 seconds and 15 seconds remaining. It is the Commission's goal to find the area of the map you would like to discuss prior to your testimony. If you are within a specific neighborhood of a large city, please mention it by name. Once we are able to locate your area, your 3-minute testimony will begin. Attendees will not be able to share their screen. At the end of your public input, or at the end of your time, you will be reconnected in a listen and view only mode. At the beginning of your input, please remind the mapper of what area you would like to see. And Chair, at this time, it looks like we do not have any attendees. Would you like the phone instructions read as well? Yeah? Okay.
Yes, that'd be excellent. Thank you.
Okay. In order to maximize transparency and public participation in our process, the Commissioners will be taking community of interest input by phone. To call in, dial the telephone number provided on the live stream feed. It is 877-853-5247. When prompted to enter the meeting ID number provided on the live stream feed, it is 851-2663-3433 for this meeting. When prompted to enter a participant ID, simply press the pound key. Once you have dialed in, you will be placed in a queue. To indicate you wish to comment, please press star 9. This will raise your hand for the moderator. When it is your turn to speak, you will hear a message that says, "The host would like you to talk," and to press star 6 to speak. If you would like to give your name, please state and spell it for the record. You are not required to provide your name to give public comment. Please make sure to mute your computer or live stream audio to prevent any feedback or distortion during your call. Once you are waiting in the queue, be alert for when it is your turn to speak, and again, please turn down the live stream volume. And at this time, Chair, we do not have any callers in the queue.
Thank you, Katie. So maybe we'll share a little bit more, and then if we still don't have any callers, we'll go to a video. So one of the things that I wanted to share was that we have heard about the Native American Health Center once before, and a couple of times, and also about the Fruitvale District. And I do know that the Oakland City Council approved renaming 31st Avenue to Martin Wazoo, who's he's been the executive director of the Native American Health Center for over 40 years and has been a trailblazing leader in the Native American and community out in in the Bay Area and across the state of California. So just wanted to acknowledge a great community leader in Oakland and for the Native American community. With that, I'm wondering if there are any other commissioners who want to share. Oh, Commissioner Fernandez.
I'm going to play the "Where Were You" with the San Francisco earthquake since Commissioner Turner started. At that time, that was the Beta. What is it? The Beta Bay. It was the World Series, and I was in Sacramento, but I was traveling back and forth to the Bay Area because I was an auditor, but I was also traveling back to Sacramento because I was trying to finish up my master's. And I remember having an exam that day. And of course, as a student full-time, a full-time employee, you're, what is it, burning the candles on both ends. And it was very strong. And my thing was, oh my gosh, I'm so nauseous. I really need to get some sleep because I'm losing it, right? And so I didn't think much more. I went to take my test. And then that's where I learned that there was this huge earthquake. And I've got to tell you, when I got home, I could not stop looking at the news. And it just was so surreal to me, like, oh my God, the magnitude of it. And then just all of the damage and all of the people. And Commissioner Turner was in the middle of it. I mean, it just didn't seem real to me. And my heart goes out to everyone that was impacted by that. So that was where was I during that earthquake? I still look back and I just can't believe the magnitude of it all.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where I was for the earthquake. I think because I was still, I think I was in bed at home. No, that's where I was. And I remember the bed was shaking, so I was at home with family, but that was horrible incident in Bay Area history. Any other stories? Commissioner Akutagawa.
I actually want to ask a clarification question. Are you talking about the one in the night? It was like in the late 80s. I think it was 1989. Is that the one? I don't know. I feel like there are several big ones. So I'm just wanting to make sure which one are we talking about. So I guess I'll share a story about that one because I think that year, I think I had just finished up college and I had taken a trip with two of my friends. We decided we're going to try something different. We went on a trip to Japan that year. And all I remember is watching the news in Japan. And first off, I was thinking, I thought maybe I'm just misunderstanding what is being said because we're in Japan and I'm looking at it, I'm like, and I thought maybe they were talking about like a historical event, and then I realized, no, they're talking about right now and just watching everything with horror, just thinking, oh my gosh, and especially what happened on the Bay Bridge, it was just really it was unbelievable, especially watching it from somewhere outside the country. And, so that's where I was.
Commissioner Sinai, I think you had your hand up.
Well, two things. It is bizarre when you're outside the country watching in. So I was the different disaster, but when Katrina happened, I was in Buenos Aires, and it's kind of surreal just to hear the news. And we tried, we kept going back and forth between listening to it on CNN and listening to it on local cable. I was going to switch gears, and I've always wanted to ask Commissioner Fernandez and Commissioner Taylor, if you've ever listened to Ear Hustle, the podcast created by incarcerated people inside of San Quentin, and one of them he's out now, but it's just a really fascinating, and they had to stop it for a while because of COVID.
So I know about it, but I have never listened to it.
Yeah, I've listened to it. As it relates, different perspectives are always good to take. So, I would like to think that I'm open to sound theory and judgment wherever it comes from. So I've listened to it a few times.
Commissioner Furnishari.
I have a question for Commissioner Taylor. Is that the Dodger Stadium in your picture there?
You know the answer, Neil.
That is a really, really cool picture.
Yeah, and it's funny, since playing Little League and you get, and I'm sure it's regional, but playing Little League baseball and you get in Southern California, and you get items from the big league club that you're near. It just endears you to to that to that team. So since a kid, um, I've had an appreciation of the Dodgers, a love of the Dodgers. My family does too. My family has a lot of baseball in it.
Commissioner Kutagawa.
I guess I'll share another story on that note with baseball. So my husband is a hardcore Dodgers fan, and his cousins who live up in the East Bay are hardcore Giants fans. And so we haven't been able to do this the last couple years, but they have a bet going that if and when one team or the other play, and I think they pick a game. I think it's usually like the first game where the Dodgers and the Giants play each other, depending on who wins that game. Then towards the end of the season, whoever is the losing cousin, depending on their team, has to wear the shirt of the team of the opposite. So in one year, my husband had to wear the Giants colors shirts, and he just absolutely hated it. He tried to put the shirt on at the very last minute because he just thought it was just sacrilege that he would be forced to wear a Giants shirt as a hardcore Giants fan. And so the rest of us, including myself, got a really good chuckle out of it. There was one year where his cousin also had to do the same. She had to wear a Dodgers shirt, and she hated every single minute of it.
So it looks like we may have a caller. Katie, can you please ask if they'd like to give comments?
Yes, Chair. For those that have called in, if you would, please press *9 to raise your hand indicating you wish to comment. If you wish to comment, please press *9 on your telephone keypad. And we do have a raised hand, caller 5457. If you will please follow the prompts to unmute by pressing *6 on your telephone keypad. Again, caller with the last 5457. If you will please press *6 on your telephone keypad, this will unmute you. One more time. If you will please press *6 on your telephone keypad. There we go. Caller 5457. Okay. Hi, I have a couple of brief instructions for you. Your speaker order number will be 16. If you'll please make note of that for future reference. And if you'll please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss today, the floor is yours.
Thank you, all of you. I was listening to you talk about Dodger Stadium and reminded me of my wonderful days growing up in Southern California. I am now in Northern California, and I'd like to speak to the redistricting of Vallejo and connected to the Napa Valley. And I understand there may be some discussion about that. I am Ruthie Catolico Ashley. I am now a resident of Vallejo, California. I'm a lawyer, actually a retired lawyer. Retired here in Vallejo to be near the grandchildren, as I'm sure many of you can understand. And I'm still very active in the legal community in the Northern California area. Very active in lobbying, both in Sacramento and in Washington, D.C. And I have found that it's really, as moving from Sacramento to Vallejo, it has been a great place to live, but most of our connections have been with the Napa Valley. And since we live right across the border, in fact, part of our entrance into where we live, it's an area called Hidden Brook. It's part of Napa Valley. And where we actually live is in Solano County. and the other part is Napa County. So we do very much of our business in Napa County. Our grandchildren go to Napa, school in Napa, lots of shopping done in Napa, a lot of legal issues and legal connections I have in Napa. Go to the courthouse quite often there, work with the bar associations, not only in Solano County, but Napa County, Contra Costa County, and Sacramento County. So I would like to emphasize that we as residents of Vallejo, and to speak of, I am also a Filipino American, would very much like to stay connected to Napa County if there's any way for you to do that when you are doing your redistricting for this decade. Thank you very much. And I'm happy to answer any questions if you'd like.
Just for clarification, you'd like Napa County and Vallejo to be part of the district with Napa County?
The same.
So
yes,
you would draw the line.
district.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, you're correct.
Appreciate
It
your
is
feedback.
now in Mike Thompson's. It is now in Mike Thompson's congressional district, and we'd like to stay in that area since we have so much connection with Napa County through in the city of Vallejo, even though we are in Solano County. But we're at the western end of Solano County, not the eastern end, which is close to Yolo County and close to other congressional representatives. I think our closest representative is through Napa County, and that would be Mike Thompson.
Thank you for your feedback.
Thank you.
And that was all of our callers at this time, Chair.
Thank you, Katie. Can you read the telephone instructions one more time?
Yes, Chair. The abbreviated version?
Read the long version.
The long version? Okay.
Just in case folks are trying to figure out how to call in.
Absolutely. In order to maximize transparency and public participation in our process, the commissioners will be taking community of interest input by phone. To call in, dial the telephone number provided on the live stream feed. It is 877-853-5247. When prompted to enter the meeting ID number provided on the live stream feed, it is 851-2663-3433 for this meeting. When prompted to enter a participant ID, simply press the pound key. Once you have dialed in, you will be placed in a queue. To indicate you wish to comment, please press *9. This will raise your hand for the moderator. When it is your turn to speak, you will hear a message that says, "The host would like you to talk," and to press *6 to speak. If you would like to give your name, please state and spell it for the record. You are not required to provide your name to give public comment. Please make sure to mute your computer or live stream audio to prevent any feedback or distortion during your call. Once you are waiting in the queue, be alert for when it is your turn to speak, and again, please turn down the live stream volume. Now we do not have any callers in the queue at this time, Chair.
Thank you, Katie. So just a reminder to visit our website at wedrawtheLineCA.org. You can also sign up for our emails to learn more about the commission meetings, updates, and get announcements. Please connect with us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and our handle is WeDrawTheLinesCA. There are numerous ways to provide community public input to the commission. A community of interest input can be provided during our meetings, which are taking place throughout the summer. And please visit wedrawtheLineCA.org for more information. Communities of interest mapping, the mapping tool is available at drawmycacommunity.org. The online tool is available in English, Spanish, Simplified Chinese, Traditional Chinese, Vietnamese, Tagalog, Korean, Armenian, Farsi, Arabic, Russian, Japanese, Punjabi, Khmer, Hmong, and Thai. And tutorials are also available in those languages. On our website, wedrawtheLinesCA.org. And please go to our website and click on the Draw My Community icon. You can also contact us by email at votersfirstact@crc.ca.gov, or by mail as well, snail mail, at California Citizens Redistricting Commission. Our address is 721 Capitol Mall, Suite 260, Sacramento, California, 95814. With that, Katie, do we have any callers on the line?
We do not, Chair, not this time.
Are there any additional stories, or should we go? There we go. Commissioner Furnishar, then Commissioner Turner.
Well, Commissioner Taylor sparked a memory for me. Growing up in Alameda County in the 70s playing Little League, the A's were the team. And I remember every season we get tickets and wear uniforms and go sit up in the third deck. And that third deck is just like walking straight up. It's just crazy going up there. And it was before the Raiders came back. And so the whole end of the outfield of the Coliseum was open. And you had a beautiful view of the East Bay Hills. And it was just a great place to be a kid and go watch some baseball games.
Yeah, and I was going to share. I thought about it. I thought, wait a minute. I grew up a number of years in the Bay Area, and so I was sitting here thinking about the different parks that we went to. And in Richmond, there was a Nichols Park that we thought that was just like the best thing ever to go to, and Nolan Park in Oakland, and Children's Fairyland. And there was the Wildcat Canyon that we did. I was a counselor for kids in summer camps for a number of years. And so we enjoyed those areas. I was thinking about the Berkeley Rose Garden, and that so many of my relatives got married at the Rose Garden. I thought about some of the food establishments. So there was like Moo's Ice Cream that was a mainstay in Richmond, and Andy's Donuts, and Giovanni's in Berkeley, and just a lot of good times throughout the Bay Area. Point Orient out in Point Richmond, and the Richmond Plunge. So many of my family members learned how to swim at the Richmond Plunge. And what was that? Hotel Mac out there. I don't even know if it's still there in Point Richmond or not. But I thought about the 10-cent burgers at Munchie's and Brooks Hamburgers and stuff like that. The Roxy Movie Theater. And then the Hilltop Drive-In. Roxy was in Oakland, and the Drive-In in Hilltop. So spent a lot of time between, even in going through all of my school years, the younger years in Coronado and Portla, El Cerrito, and Kennedy High was my alma mater. And then the rival schools of Castlemont and Berkeley High. It's like Skyline, So I don't know, all of those throughout the Bay Area, that part of the Bay Area anyway, East Bay. Just hold a lot of fond memories for me. And the more you think about it, you start thinking about like different, like, oh yeah, Leopold's Records, and I don't even think a lot of those establishments are around any longer, but it was just, what was that? The mall in Oakland, Eastmont Mall, and there was another mall I'm trying to think about.
MacArthur, was that?
MacArthur, yeah, there was a mall on MacArthur, right?
MB, MacArthur Broadway, MB.
Yes, all of that. And before it was International, it was the 14th Street, I think it was in Oakland, because I lived in Oakland for a while on right off of Foothill when we first got married back in '78. So we were on it was off of High Street, 27th Avenue. That's what it was. So yes, love the Bay Area, just very rich in memories and experiences. I'm gonna tell one more harrowing experience that just shows you the folly of kids, because I also was a pep squad person for high school, not quite the cheerleader, but me and a couple of my girlfriends were coming down from the rival school in El Cerrito. And as we were coming down, we heard all this screeching noise, and we didn't see anything. We just ran because we heard the noise and hid in some apartment parking lot. And some officers came with their, like they were in a kind of a attack mode, because they didn't know. They just caught the tail end of us. And so we scared them more than they scared us. And we got down to the hill and got a good scolding from the officers. We were like, well, we didn't even know. We were just being young and foolish. But those kind of things, you don't even recognize how dangerous it was at the time. It was just fun times, so I had a wonderful, just kind of sheltered, but wonderful life in the Bay Area from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and was there through, I think, 95. So again, lots of love for the Bay Area.
Thank you, Commissioner Anderson.
I'm just going to say the plunge has been completely redone and opened up again because it was closed for many years. And Hotel Mac is still there.
Yes.
And the whole Rosie the Riveter in that area has been totally redone. And
wow.
It's actually going back to that entire area is, it's lovely. It's all really lovely. And we played softball quite a bit at Skyline High, and they're using their facilities. I have to sneak through a hole in the fence. But there's a lot of different memories all through this area over, even out in the Marin Headlands. We used to go out and the fort, all those forts that are now gorgeous and restored before any of those had been restored. And we pop around there and then you go out now and it's gorgeous. It's all roped off. It's everything. It's like, wow, it was dilapidated old concrete bunkers when we used to go out there. It's lots of fond memories over the years.
And the beach at Alameda too, right? Oh,
Crown Beach. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My first job was as a recreational leader, a park and recreation leader for the city of Alameda, and so I got to, I was also a lifeguard, but most of them, I didn't do that too well, so I wasn't so good at that, I just didn't like being in the water as much. But I got to be in Alameda has amazing parks, lots of them all over the city, and of course the beach. And so got to work in their day program. So all summer with kids 5 to I think it was 5 to 12. So it was really interesting to spend a summer with, because it was like summer camp, and so we got to play all kinds of games with them and give them food and that sort of thing. And it was all high school students doing it. So it was quite interesting. I don't think that's allowed anymore. I think now you have to have certified people taking care of children. But back then, I think we were allowed. I don't remember. Yeah, we were allowed, and it was a lot of fun. And we'd take them to all kinds of places. We would go to Great America. That the name Great America, and to Marine World, and to other like water parks and all kinds of places.
Chair, this is Katie. We do have a caller in the queue with their hand raised.
They probably got tired of us telling stories. Yes.
Oh no, I love the story.
Okay, so let's hear from the caller.
All right, caller 6833. If you will please follow the prompts to unmute by pressing *6 on your telephone keypad. Caller 6833, you are unmuted. I have a couple of brief instructions. Your speaker order number will be 17. If you'll please make note of that for future reference. And if you'll please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss today, the floor is yours.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Actually, I really like your stories because I was born and raised in Oakland. And so I love that. I can't remember who it was that mentioned, it wasn't International Boulevard, it was East 14th, and it will always be East 14th for us. But I wanted to call and specifically talk about the area that I do live in now. My name is Maribel Mendoza, and I am the president and co-founder of Hijas del Campo, and we are a almost nonprofit organization, started off as mutual aid for farm workers, campesinos, that do exist here in the Far East County. And from the work that we do, we actually have had to expand our service to San Joaquin County because we have plenty of farm workers that do travel across county borders, from San Joaquin over to Contra Costa. And so it's important that we have somebody represent this area and who understands, the plight of the farm worker. And it also does involve farms that are, in between here and there, Lodi, Stockton, Manteca, Tracy, Byron, Knightson, Brentwood, Oakley. These are all areas that are heavily trafficked, that have a heavy traffic, foot traffic of campesinos and of farm owners. And so I think it's important that we really take care of these farms and of the people who work the farms, because that's how we have food on our tables. And so I think it's something important that we focus on. And so I would really like to see somebody, focus on this area, as well as, the Delta. The Delta runs within these areas that, cross, San Joaquin and Contra Costa. And it's important to keep those, keep the Delta clean and alive and taken care of and not exploited, as well as the people. Again, my name is Maribel Mendoza, Hijas del Campo, and thank you.
Ms. Mendoza, before you go, can you clarify where you would draw the lines? So what communities would you keep together? Because you mentioned the San Joaquin Valley, but what portions or where in the San Joaquin and where on the Contra Costa side as well?
Absolutely.
If I'm understanding correctly.
So we are seeing the farmland. So if you look, start from Far East County, Far East Contra Costa County, right? You have farmlands that are Oakley, you have farmlands in Brentwood. So I would like to see it start there. And then so you work your way up to the Delta. And I think it's, so you're going up towards Tracy, that area, you're going towards Stockton. So if you're picturing it with me, I don't have, the map in front of me, but do you kind of understand like where I'm heading with that?
So Oakley, Brentwood towards Stockton is what I'm hearing. And including Tracy. Is that correct?
Yes, because because it's heavy agriculture area.
And the Delta cities, you mentioned the Delta cities. What do you mean by that?
The cities that are like around the Delta. I'm trying to remember, what city is that, that you drive, going towards, so you drive through Discovery Bay. And if you're going towards Stockton through Discovery Bay, there's other smaller towns throughout that area. That's very big agriculture, farmland. So I would like to see that included.
Thank you so much for your feedback. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I hope that helps. I realized I called and I pressed to speak, and I don't have the map in front of me, but I'm a mom on the go. And
No worries. This is very helpful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was all of our callers at this time, Chair.
Thank you, Katie. Any other commissioner stories at this time? Going once, going twice?
Pedro, just to add on a little bit. So Commissioner Fonshari, my little league team with my youngest, we're the Dodgers, and I was sifting through his bag, and he had a.
I think we lost Commissioner Taylor.
Oh no! Well, he said he.
Mistake for him.
I was going to say.
No, it's just he did the same thing I did when I was his age. So he probably wandered around the park and picked up every Dodger batting glove that was left, and it became a part of his bag of stuff. So those do mark our youth.
You said he had and you froze for a minute. So we were trying to see, what did he have? A cookie, a cleat, a club?
No, Dodger. So when you go to a lot of times when you go with your little league to Dodger games or to A's games or to Giants games, they give you keepsakes. And so the keepsakes out here are Dodgers batting gloves. And so kids are kids, so they leave them all over the place. So I remember when I was a kid, I would go around the park and pick up those gloves, and they became a part of my stuff. And it seems that my youngest did the same thing, and I was going through his bag, and those found batting gloves became a part of his stuff. So it's just funny how we have the same themes throughout all of our strands, all the things that keep us in common, all the things that have us in common with other Californians. Neil talked about those keepsakes and being on that high rake when visiting the A's games. When I took the kids, I was telling my wife, there's no way we can stay on this third flight because we're going to fall straight down onto this field. But there's similar themes, and I think that's what unites us all.
How many gloves did he have?
He had 6, and he had 2 pairs. I'm going to give him credit that one was his, and then he had like 2 right-handers. I'm like, what are you going to do with these 2 they're not even a pair, but he just had them. He just collected them. So by default, he has a love for the Dodgers.
Mr. Anderson.
Okay, I've got to tell some. You can't be just telling Dodger stories. But actually, the souvenirs triggered several memories. One, my children, the A's do a lot with schools in Oakland, and they've all have, they do Oakland readers. So you get a bag that it says Oakland A's readers, and it has a little bit of about reading and things like that. And they get those little backpacks when they go to the game. In school, the school takes the group for a day, and you get hats. And so I have all these different smaller A's hats, which they have done that to all the different schools in Oakland. But then one of my favorite memories is I went to the Giants games back when they were playing a Candlestick, and I have if you were ever at a night game in Candlestick and it went to extra innings, you got what's called the Quad Candlestick, a little badge, and it has a little snow on the SF symbol. It was one of the coldest times. It was like you're next to Lake Michigan. It was so cold. But I definitely have a couple of those, so I'm proud to say.
Commissioner Sinai.
Yeah, going back to the Dodgers. I don't know how many of you remember like the multiple sclerosis readathon when we were in school. You would read, and if you read a certain number of books, you got awards, and you had to collect money. And I remember collecting money, but they never told me when to turn it in, so I turned it in to MS with a note saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't know when to turn this in," and so they sent me 4 tickets to a Dodger game. And we're an immigrant family, and we were 5. So my mom's like, "I'll stay home." So my dad took the 3 kids, and we were young. And I just remember Steve Garvey played first base, and I knew who he was for some reason. I'm like, "Go, Steve!" I'm totally cheering. And my dad's like, "The heck is going?" He's a soccer player. He knows soccer and rugby. But then I moved to San Diego, and San Diego are big fans of Steve Garvey as well, because this is where he got traded later. And I moved here when they had the best. I know this year's team is good, and I haven't watched this year's team, but the 98, 99 Padres were just awesome with Trevor and Hoffman and so many other of the players. And then they sold them all the next year. And so I've always had a hard time really being a fan, because I got hooked on the Padres and then they sold everybody. And for me, it's the players, not just the name.
Yeah, I have one more thing I'm going to share, and this is for Derek and all of you other sports players. So I started working at the telephone company really, really young. And so I am the least sports person you will ever meet or know anything about, regardless of what team. But working for years for the telephone company, they used to award some kind of pretty nice prizes. And so one particular time, my team won tickets to the oh my Lord, here we go. The ski thing. I mean, what they do on the ice, hockey. I think it was hockey, Ducks or something. In San Jose, whatever that team is. Anyway, the Sharks. So we got tickets to the Sharks. And when we were there, the tickets were in a skybox, right? And I just thought this was the way people watch the game. So we went, it was great. We ordered food, the whole bit. I'm like, oh yes, I love sports. I love this, right? And then next tickets came up and it was some game in Oakland. And I think we were looking at, I don't know, baseball or something, but it was another one of the skybox. So this now is my experience. It's like, oh yes, food come when you want it and it's fun and we're talking. And then my church said, we're going to go to a baseball game. And I'm like, yes, I love those. Let's go, And we get to the game and we're going the wrong way. And we get there and they actually wanted us to sit on those bleachers down at I'm like, what the heck is this? I don't like sports. I don't. And so everybody, they got the biggest kick out of that. They're like, are you kidding? I'm like, yeah, I came in the wrong end of sports games. I didn't know to have this experience. And so I couldn't pay attention to the game. Everybody just laughed the whole thing. It ended up being, we had a ball. I still don't know to tell you who won. I don't know. And I was just yelled when the rest of the people yelled. But for the diehard sports fans, not volunteer, they tell me to stay home. You're going to distract everything. You stay home. We don't want to explain the whole game to you. But I had a ball.
So here's the third deck, Oakland Coliseum A's story. I actually, just 2 years ago, caught a foul ball there on the third deck, which is pretty unusual.
Wow, good show.
We like to sit right in the value deck, which is right behind home plate, but way up there. So, not a lot of balls come that way, but one did that day, and I got to cross that off the bucket list. But I remember going as a kid and they would have giveaway days. And back then they actually had bat days, actually gave away bats. Can you believe that? And I was so happy because I got a Reggie Jackson bat and he had a very nice signature and I really treasured that. There's so many good memories of going to games there. And, there were 2 million ticket seasons there at the Coliseum. I think, I know the whole hubbub now is about getting a new stadium built near Jack London Square. And people consider that to be essential, or the team is saying that that's essential for them to stay. But plenty of good memories in the Coliseum, the World Series games, the All-Star game when it came to town, and so forth. And just a lot of fun there in East Oakland.
Is the Coliseum, you might know this, Commissioner Yee or Commissioner Anderson, is the Coliseum project moving, or the new stadium moving forward in the Jack London Square area, or?
The city council has made an offer to the A's. It wasn't everything the A's were asking for, so I think the A's are chewing over that offer and trying to make a decision. So it's, at that point it's big business. It's not baseball. So.
Awesome. Well, it definitely would bring more people to the downtown area, potentially. Yeah. Any other stories?
I'm going to jump in with another baseball. Speaking of the stadium, and Don Stewart, who was one of the pitchers for the A's for quite a while, and lives in around Oakland. He actually had a plan and was presenting that to redo essentially the Coliseum area. If they end up selling it, tearing down the stadium, or even if they leave it there, get a couple of very good, housing and try to put money back into the area because it's a great location. So it'd be very interesting. But it was just that one of the former A's players was organizing that.
Dave Stewart, I think. Yeah.
Dave Stewart. I'm sorry, Dave Stewart.
There's trivia for you for the Coliseum. The playing field where the A's and the Raiders played, the A's played, is 22 feet below sea level, actually. And that's why the stadium doesn't stick up or above ground as much as a lot of stadiums do. So the dugouts there are probably the lowest point in Oakland. They've actually had plumbing problems because of that. It's so far beneath sea level.
Oh, I didn't realize that. And if there are no other stories, Katie, can you please read the instructions for calling in?
Yes, Chair. Would you like the full instructions or abbreviated?
You can do the abbreviated.
Okay. The Commission will now take community of interest input by phone. To give comment, please call 877-853-5247. Enter the meeting ID number 851-2663-3433 for this meeting. Once you have dialed in, please press star 9 to enter the comment queue. The full call-in instructions have been read previously in this session and are provided in full in the live stream landing page. And we do have a caller with a raised hand, Chair.
Thank you. Let's hear from the caller.
Awesome. Caller with the last 44708. If you will please follow the prompts to unmute by pressing star 6 on your telephone keypad. Caller 4708, I have a couple of brief instructions. You are unmuted. Your speaker order number is number 18, if you'll please make note of that for future reference. And if you'll please let the mapper know what area you would like to discuss today, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay?
We sure can. Go ahead.
Awesome, great. Okay, so my name is Susanna Williams. I live in Antioch, up above the Concha Loma Reservoir. And my husband, my family, and I have lived out here for over 20 years. And, we travel Highway 4, and now everything is, going on east out to San Joaquin County. We primarily, love living out here. We love being part of the Delta community. We definitely want to see the Delta community to remain intact under one stewardship a la Congressional District 9. The limited agriculture that is in this area is all in the east part of it, kind of rolls out to San Joaquin County. I think those interests should remain aligned. It's been working out pretty well so far. Our Delta communities are unique. We have communities like Bethel Island where it's kind of one way in and one way out. There's a lot that goes along with maintaining a Delta, being a good steward over that. So I strongly am urging the powers that be with redistricting to keep everything from Antioch East as part of CD9. And that's pretty much my comments. Thank you for having me today. And any questions?
Yeah, just really briefly, can you explain what you mean by Delta communities? I think I understood, but I just want to verify that I'm understanding which communities you would like to be included.
Pretty much from Antioch East. You've got Antioch, Brentwood, Oakley, down over to Bethel Island. It all kind of flows out there. If you've ever driven out and taken the levee roads to Stockton, you kind of start at Antioch and, you can kind of meander your whole way going across the levee roads to Stockton. So that's kind of the whole community I'm thinking of. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Appreciate your comments.
All right. Thank you very much.
Katie, do we have any other callers?
We do not, Chair. That was all of our callers at this time.
If there are no other commissioner stories, then we're going to go to a 20-minute video. Oh, we do have somebody. We have Commissioner Sinai.
So that's the youngest of the three dogs, and he's in the trampoline jumping around right now. And I thought I would just give you that visual as we're getting ready to go to a video.
So we do have two people who have registered for this session who may be calling in later. So we're going to give them a little bit more time and go to a video. And then we'll come back in 20 minutes. So So Christian, can you please set up the English language video? Thank you, Christian. And welcome back to the California Citizens Redistricting Commission Community of Interest Input meeting. The session is specifically dedicated to those that who do not have an appointment. However, if you had an appointment and weren't able to call in during your time block, we encourage you to call in now. We will continue to take public input at this time and also invite public comment on any general issue. The phone line for public input and public comment will close later today at about 7:30. We will get to all the callers who were in the queue at the time and including those going beyond 7:30 if needed. I will pass this over to Katie, our comment moderator, to facilitate any callers.
We do not have any callers at this time, Chair. Would you like instructions read?
Yes, please.
In order to maximize transparency and public participation in our process, the commissioners will be taking community of interest input and general public comment for items not on the agenda at this time. To call in, dial the telephone number provided on the live stream feed. It is 877-853-5247. When prompted to enter the meeting ID number provided on the live stream feed, it is 851-2663-3433 for this meeting. When prompted to enter a participant ID, simply press the pound key. Once you have dialed in, you will be placed in a queue. To indicate you wish to comment, please press *9. This will raise your hand for the moderator. When it is your turn to speak, you will hear a message that says the host would like you to talk and to press *6 to speak. If you would like to give your name, please state and spell it for the record. You are not required to provide your name to give public comment. Please make sure to mute your computer or live stream audio to prevent any feedback or distortion during your call. Once you are waiting in the queue, be alert for when it is your turn to speak, and again, please turn down the live stream volume. And we do not have any callers in the queue at this time, Chair.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So as a reminder, requests for interpretation must be submitted at least 5 business days prior to the meeting. And you can request via email to interpreter.request@crc.ca.gov, or you can also request by calling our office at 916-323-0323. In terms of upcoming community of interest meetings and business meetings, we have a busy schedule, and it continues. Tomorrow, Friday, July 30th at 4 p.m., we'll be having a community of interest public input meetings focused on Los Angeles County and its surrounding areas. Registration has already closed, but callers are welcome to call in. On Saturday, July 31st at 10 a.m., we have a community of interest public input meeting focused on Riverside and the San Bernardino counties and their surrounding areas. Registration closes tonight at 5 o'clock, or actually has already closed at 5 o'clock. And we have another community of interest input meeting this upcoming Wednesday, August the 4th at 4 p.m. focused on Fresno, Kern, Kings, Madera, Merced, San Joaquin, Stanislaus, and Tulare counties and their surrounding areas. The August 4th meeting will have both Spanish and Punjabi listening lines and available interpretation. Registration for the August 4th meeting closes this Monday at 5 p.m. And we also have a business meeting this upcoming Thursday, August the 5th at 10 a.m. You are not required to make an appointment to provide public input at the community of interest meetings. However, it is recommended. You can also call in the day of the meeting. At this time, our meetings are still held virtually, so everyone in California can participate and provide public input. Please go to our website at wedrawtheLineCA.org for meeting information. With that, Katie, do we have any callers on the line?
We do not have any callers at this time, Chair.
Thank you. Any additional stories from the commission? Saying none, I will.
No, Commissioner Sinai.
Oh, Commissioner Sinai, and I think Commissioner Yee too. Sorry, I'm only seeing a little portion of my screen. Commissioner Sinai and then Commissioner Yee.
I was just trying to think of memories down the Bay Area, more South Bay. I used to work for the American Cancer Society for San Mateo County, so I got to know San Mateo County well. But the first funny memory that came up was I was thinking through the first time I ever saw a black bottom pool was some friends in Los Gatos had one. Exactly, that was my reaction. Commissioner Toledo, I was like, wow, these folks are so busy at work that they haven't cleaned their pool in a long time. And it turns out that they're actually a thing, and it actually warms up the water more because it's dark, but it is more expensive. And I guess they were new at the time, but I luckily I didn't say anything out loud. They said something before I said something about their pool, because they're like, do you want to go in? I'm like, it's looking a little dirty. But so anyway, I thought I would share my memory of the first time I saw a black bottom pool.
So
for sharing.
A couple of people have mentioned East 14th Street in Oakland. So it's a major street. It goes all the way from Richmond through Oakland, down into San Leandro, Hayward, then even down into Fremont, and maybe all the way down to Milpitas as Mission Boulevard. So the portion in Oakland was renamed International Boulevard in 1996, I think it was. And for many years, the church that my wife and I were at, Sunday worship was at a storefront that we borrowed space from there on International Boulevard. And this is how I got into long distance running. So a spring day in 2010, the Oakland Marathon was on, and the church is located right around mile 16 of the original Oakland Marathon route. It's since changed. And runners were going by. And I was 49 at the time. And seeing these runners go by, and I thought to myself, they don't look like runners. Like I knew what runners look like, right? What the runners look like. I guess like the guys in the Olympics, right? But all shapes and sizes, and they were 16 miles in, right? A long way to go, but quite a distance already. And that's when it occurred to me, well, they're just regular people. They can run and they can train and run for a marathon. Why couldn't I? And here I was 49, getting ready to turn 50, and why not try to run a marathon before I turned 50? And so that's when I got the bug, trained for the 2011 Oakland Marathon, ran it, and been running ever since. So as listeners, as viewers may see us as commissioners and think, those are just regular people. Although my fellow commissioners, you guys are incredibly accomplished, but I think it should, I would love to come across as regular people, because we are the Citizens Redistricting Commission. And when people see us, they should think to themselves, I could do that. Yes, you could. Apply, 2030. Anyone can apply. And so I finally got around to doing the math. Even if you're 13 now, if you're 23 in 2030, and you have 5 years as a voter with one party registration that hasn't changed, you're qualified, and you could be on this commission for the 2030 round. So just regular people trying to help the state.
Thank you, Commissioner Yee. I thought they were going to say, oh, anyone can run a marathon.
Well, no, with work, yeah, it's it's just a lot of time training, really, is what it comes down to.
I'd have to start by walking a couple blocks, and then start really slow, and then work myself up, and maybe by the time I turn 49, maybe I can run a marathon.
Most people who register for a marathon and start it, finish it. It may take them 5 hours, but they'll finish it.
That's inspiring. Anyone else have a story?
Commissioner Farshari, I think that's.
Commissioner Farshari.
Yeah, we haven't talked much about the South Bay. I started, so I spent 5 months in the hospital in the South Bay after I got injured. And I made a lot of friends down there. So I spent a lot of time down in San Jose and Santa Clara. And that's actually where I met my wife, at the hospital that I was in after I got injured. And I just walked in the room, and there she was, and my heart just stopped, and that was that. We started dating, and she was living in Santa Clara, so we spent an awful lot of time. I spent a lot of time driving from Livermore down to Santa Clara, so we could spend time together. And our favorite thing to do on a Friday evening after she got done with work was go to an old time restaurant called Mariani's, and they had a piano bar, and they would play, old time like Frank Sinatra and stuff like that. And we would sit around and listen to piano bar for a few hours in the evening and relax after work. And we've gotten by there a few times after we've gotten married, but it's a little bit different than it used to be down there. But that was a lot of fun.
So she just happened to be in the hospital, or?
She actually was an intern, and I was going to visit a friend of mine, and I walked in the office where they worked, and she was there, and I just saw her, and I just, yeah.
That's an awesome story.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Anyone else want to share a story? Commissioner Anderson, I'm sure you have many stories. You live in Berkeley.
I do. I'm just trying to think, well, what do I say? Actually, Commissioner Turner was triggered a couple of memories about places, old places that were here and aren't anymore. And as McCollum's ice cream store is on Solano. Good Earth was a restaurant right at Oxford and Addison, I guess. Was there for years, and yeah, it's one of my cousins who lived here for years ago, well before I ever got to Berkeley, and he said, "Yeah, so one restaurant you've got to go to," and I did, but shortly after that, it did close. So it was and then there was another. Oh man, there've been a bunch of different these great ice cream places right through Shattuck, which are all closed now. And they even people. Oh no, here's a biggie: is Shattuck Avenue. It had two fingers. Of the north side went on. It split at center and would go. The north side was a little bit further east, and coming south was a little bit further west. Well, they have now changed the section on Shattuck, the west portion from University to Center is now two-way, which is a huge deal. It still doesn't work, but they're working on it. And one thing in Berkeley, which many people probably don't know, when they were putting BART in, and they tore up the whole, in many areas, they tore up the roads to put the tunnels in. So people found all sorts of great alternative routes. And in Berkeley, actually, I think they did some in Oakland as well. But I think in Oakland, then they take them out. They put these concrete balustrades in different areas. You'll be driving like, okay, I'm going up here and oops, now I have to turn right and I can't get out. And then you end up turning back. It's to prevent you from driving through the neighborhoods surrounding the Shattuck Avenue. and people sued, and the city of Berkeley lost. And they said, okay, we lost. So you guys will have to come and take them out. So they're still here 30 years later, 40 years later. So in many areas in Berkeley, you think, oh, I'll just drive there. Nope, you're turning right. You're turning back around. So it's a kind of unusual, except some areas they did take one of them out. So it has enough for emergency vehicles to get through, just sort of wide enough. But you have to be high. I've seen many cars try to go over that and take out the engine and everything. You see them broken down right there in the road. Just a few interesting things about Berkeley.
Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. And we do have a break scheduled at 7:15 for 15 minutes. And we're going to give people an opportunity to call in and during that break and so that they can get into the queue to give public comment. In the meantime, while we wait for our 7:15 break, I'm just going to share a little bit about the last couple of weekends. I've been going up to Point Reyes Station out in West Marin, which is such a beautiful drive from Petaluma out to the West Marin area, the coast and such. And I've been going out to there's a area in West Marin where the Coast Guard had some housing, and they've been there for a very long time. That land has been transitioned to the county of Marin, and the community out there is they actually wanted to convert it into affordable housing. You hear of communities who don't want affordable housing in their neighborhoods. Well, this is a community that does want affordable housing in their area, and so I've been going out there to just to partake in the public forums and to hear from community members and to and to be a community member myself, and so I just find it interesting, and so because Marin County has a reputation of lots, it's a very wealthy area, and also has many disparities, and so oftentimes there's I think the latest study is one of the areas with the highest rates of segregation. So I thought it was quite interesting that this is a community that actually wants to build affordable housing and bring in essential workers and bring in folks to their community, which is awesome. It's also with the agriculture being such a big piece of the economy, their dairy farms, organic dairy farms, and some of the oyster areas and cheese production. I mean, they really do depend on their workers. So I just thought I think that's great that they're working towards creating affordable housing as a community. So, and I thought I would share. With that, we are at 7:15, and we do need to take a break, and then we'll be back at 7:30. And at that time, if we don't have any callers in the queue, we will be adjourning. Welcome back to the California Citizens Redistricting Commission Community of Interest Input Session. The session is specifically dedicated to those that did not have an appointment. However, if you had an appointment and were unable to call in earlier, please call in. We encourage you to call in now. We are taking public input at this time and also invite public comment. Katie, do we have any callers on the line at this point?
We do not have any callers in the queue at this time, Chair.
Would you please read the instructions on how to call in?
Yes.
Thank you.
In order to maximize transparency and public participation in our process, the commissioners will be taking community of interest input and public comment for items not on the agenda by phone. To call in, dial the telephone number provided on the live stream feed. It is 877-853-5247. When prompted to enter the meeting ID number provided on the live stream feed, it is 851-2663-3433 for this meeting. When prompted to enter the participant ID, simply press the pound key. Once you have dialed in, you'll be placed in a queue. To indicate you wish to comment, please press star 9. This will raise your hand for the moderator. When it is your turn to speak, you will hear a message that says, "The host would like you to talk," and to press star 6 to speak. If you would like to give your name, please state and spell it for the record. You are not required to provide your name to give public comment. Please make sure to mute your computer or live stream audio to prevent any feedback or distortion during your call. Once you are waiting in the queue, be alert for when it is your turn to speak, and again, please turn down the live stream volume. And we do not have any callers at this time, Chair.
Thank you, Katie.
You're
Just a reminder that we'll be hosting a public input session tomorrow, Friday, July 30th at 4 p.m., focused on Los Angeles County and its surrounding areas. Registration has closed, but callers are welcome to call in. On Saturday, July 31st at 10 a.m., we will be hosting a community of interest input session focused on Riverside and San Bernardino's counties and their surrounding areas. And registration has closed for that as well. But of course, you can call into that meeting as during that session. We have another community of interest public input session on Wednesday, August the 4th at 4 p.m. focused on Fresno, Kern, Kings, Madera, Merced, San Joaquin, Stanislaus, and Tulare counties and their surrounding areas. The August 4th meeting will have both Spanish and Punjabi listening lines and available interpretation. Registration for the August 4th meeting closes on Monday at 5 p.m. We also have a business meeting this upcoming Thursday, August 5th at 10 a.m. And you are not required to make an appointment to provide input on the community of interest meetings. However, it is recommended you can also call in the day of the meeting. At this time, all of our meetings are still held virtually, so everyone and anyone in California can provide input. Please go to our website at wedrawthelineca.org for meeting information. Katie, with that, do we have any callers on the line?
We do not have any callers in the chair at this time, Chair.
So with that, we will be adjourning. Thank you for joining our community of interest input meeting today. We have the 3 upcoming meetings, which I just spoke about, and callers are welcome to call into any of the meetings to give public input. You don't have to call into your specific regional meeting. So feel free to give a call at any one of those community of interest forums, as well as our business meetings. You can also visit the meetings page at our website to see a list of additional upcoming community of interest input meetings at wedrawthelineca.org/meetings. With that, thank you all for your attendance, and we look to hear from you tomorrow.